Okay, I think we're up to lesson 9 now, but don't hold me to it. I think it's 9. This handy-dandy chord diagram, the major scales chord diagram, is from a very useful website called musingsofaministerswife.com, in which she has a lot of very helpful music theory information, resources, and tools. And she has a whole book full of church or religious-related music in which she simply has them laid out according to the numerical notation system as opposed to chords, so you can learn how to play songs in any key as long as you understand the numerical structure, which is what we started with last time. So, as you can see, in the key of C, the triad that makes up the C major chord is R, rather, the notes C, E, and G. Okay? Moving across the diagram, looking at the numerical notation, because C is the first note of the scale, D is the second, E is the third, F is the fourth, G is the fifth, A is the sixth, and B is the seventh, which comes up just before the scale starts over again. We refer to them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So when people are calling out chords, say for example in a typical formation, they would say we're playing a 1, 4, 5, which means we're playing a C, an F, or a G in the C scale. If you're in the G scale, a 1, 4, 5 means you're playing G, C, and D. Now this is very important to memorize or to become very accustomed with calling out musical notation or numerical notation as a way of identifying the chords that you would play in any standard progression. It's absolutely essential. It's also very important that you also be able to name or figure out the notes that are the triad notes that go inside of any of these particular chords. But just for the time being, before we go back to the visual instruction of these chords, I want you to take a look at this. In the first section, maybe 2 lessons ago, I showed you the hand method of counting the chords on your hand, moving from first to second to third to fourth. And in the key of C, I suggested you would want to learn C, D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. Or C, D, E minor, F, and G, I believe it was, what you can count on the 5 fingers of one hand. If you wanted to go into the minor mode, then obviously you would start over with another hand and your thumb becomes the A minor. So if you are counting through your fingers, gee, I wonder what the common chords would be. C, D minor, E minor, F, and G, or a 1, 4, 5 in this particular case. If you wanted to go into the minor mode, start over with your hand again. Your thumb then picks up from where the G left off, turns into the minor hand, okay? So the relative minor of C is A minor. It has the notes A, C, and E in it. The B, what do we do with that? You don't normally play a B natural chord inside of a C major chord progression, but a nice jazzy little chord is called a B diminished. And the notes in it are B, D, and F. And that, if you practice that, you will see that the B diminished resolves very nicely back to the C. So just take a moment to study and pause if necessary and look at all of the different combinations that you can have on 1, 4, 5s or 2, 4, 5s or whatever you want to play inside of the key of C, and do the same thing for G, D, A, E, B, and F sharp. These are very commonly used chords in guitar. Just take a moment to look at this, and of course you can pause the video at any time and use this as a working tool as you're trying to learn progressions and as you're trying to understand how the notes of the scale relate to progressions, and as you're also trying to learn the notes that fall within, that comprise the triads rather, of those chords within the song structure. Again, if you want to get the full book here, go to musingsofaministerswife.com. I believe that's what it is. musingsofaministerswife.com, and you can get the entire thing. It's got a lot of really, really useful information in it for any guitarist, or any musician. So just look at that, and I will come back in a second with another lesson based upon this, showing you the importance of knowing the notes that fall within each of these chords as practice items.